Under Christianity, you have people who have done amazing things to help heal people and influence the world in a positive way. But then you have people who have committed genocides and slavery under the banner of Christianity. But that's not the whole religion. That's that person's character.
Welcome back to the podcast. I started this podcast as a way to help Black men in all aspects of our lives. Studies show on average we lose 2.8 years of our life when we're under heavy stress. And I think we can gain those 2.8 years back if we express ourselves healthily. Stick with me as I interview therapists, doctors, advocates, activists, and friends about how we can be better as Black men and as a Black community. If you're not subscribed to us on YouTube and following us on Instagram and TikTok, you'll definitely want to do that. Without further ado, let's get into the episode. Y'all, I'm here with Adé. How you doing, bro?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm happy to be here. I'm honored.
Yes, sir, bro. You know, it's interesting because one of my friends had hit me up and he was like, yo, one of the spiritual pages that I follow posted your stuff. I was like, where? Okay, let me see. And he was talking about your page, right? And I was like, oh, dang. I was like, yo, this guy is really deep into spirituality and his heritage and all that. Mm-hmm. And I was scrolling through your page, and one thing that really stuck out for me was like, I understood the content, even though I wasn't in that same realm. Mm-hmm. And like, I wasn't in that same field, for lack of better words, right? And so I always feel like it's important for us to have content that speaks to people that may not be in that field. So while I have a mental health page, I don't speak with mental health jargon for the most part. Like, there's a lot of words and terms and all that kind of stuff that I could use to explain things, but I choose not to because it kind of gatekeeps people that aren't into that field. And I think you kind of do a really good job of breaking things down on your page. And so I wanted to have you on a podcast because I feel like you have a lot of knowledge and you can explain it in a way that people can understand it without them having to be too deep into what it is that you do. So what exactly is it that you do? Because I know we're talking about it, right? But what exactly is it that you do? How would you describe it to someone that's new, that's just getting onto your page or learning a little bit about you?
Well, first, I just want to say those are high compliments you gave me. Like, it's beautiful when the intent that you have and the mission that you have like matches the impact. Mm-hmm. So like everything that you just said is exactly what my goal is. Mm-hmm. Like bridge that gap and to make this stuff accessible. But if I had to summarize who I am and what I do, I would say that I'm a student of the ways of my ancestors, of the traditions of my ancestors. On a practical level, I'm a priest, a healer of an African spiritual tradition, but I'm learning, growing every day in this thing, you know, traveling to Africa, studying, reading, learning African languages, things like that. And I guess, and you hit the nail on the head, like the things that I do publicly on social media, the classes that I do are all with that goal to make that journey for people reaching back to our ancestors, to make it accessible, you know, because sometimes it can be intimidating. Like sometimes with African traditions specifically, like you can watch something and people are speaking a different language. There's a lot of deep terms, you know, and if you're coming from maybe a different faith and people are talking about ancestors and reincarnation and spirits and this and that, it can be a lot. So it's like, all right, it is a lot. It's very deep, but this is also something very practical that I use in my life every day. It helps influence my decisions, my sense of self-worth, my mental health, emotional health. So I just want people to see that. I want people to see how practical it is. And I want to make this stuff accessible. So I do classes. I do African language classes, specifically the Yoruba language from Southwest Nigeria. I do classes on African spirituality. I got a book coming out. Okay. I, you know, do memes and proverbs and stuff all the time, you know, and then I do this stuff in real life. You know, I'm studying and growing in the tradition myself as well. So,
right. Nah, man, dope. Listen, man, look, if y'all not following Adé on Instagram, I definitely need to follow him. You got to drop your Instagram real quick, bro. I can't remember exactly how it's spelled, but drop it. Yeah.
Orire. So, Oriire. Yes. Oriire.
Yeah, y'all definitely got to get on that Instagram, man. He's downplaying the memes for sure. The memes are hilarious. That's not the only reason why you should be on there. You should be on there to be learning more about spirituality, but the memes are definitely hilarious and it will give you a good insight into the spirituality in a funny and entertaining way. And so you were talking a little bit about practical uses of, you know, spirituality. So what are some practical ways you would suggest people that are new that are really just getting into it, that have no idea about spirituality and their heritage? What are some practical ways that you would suggest that they get into it?
Man, so I think there's a few ways. I think that you want to understand what you're getting into, so coming from the Abrahamic side, coming out of the church, maybe the mosque, there's a little bit of the foundational concepts are a little bit different. So I would definitely recommend books, and I can drop some of those. I reference some on my page to help you get comfortable with those kind of foundational concepts. But then also I would say to find it in your own family too. So like for me, my father's Haitian. He came here when he was a kid. My mother's family from the South, from North Carolina. And I have this stuff in my family, like from the Haitian side. Haitians can be a little weird. We start talking about they have different names for the Caribbean, Obia, Vodou, stuff like that.
Yeah.
We start talking about it, Haitians can get real like, but the point is that this is in my family, and as we came here from Africa, we came with a set of beliefs and traditions and stuff like that. So if you go back further enough, you'll find it. If your family's from here, like my family's from the South, I recently found out that they do some hoodoo, and like my grandfather, he had some stuff that he used to do, and some of that stuff is weaved into the Black church too. But I think finding it in your own family is important, and owning it and feeling like this is mine. So books, finding it in your own family. I think if you can find someone who does classes, I know a number of people who do really good classes that I can recommend. I'll drop them on my page too, and I'll send some to you, maybe include them as resources. I do classes as well. So yeah, I think that's a good starting place, so you know what you're getting into.
Right, absolutely. And so you just talked about hoodoo and voodoo, right? What are those the same thing? If not, what are they, and what are the differences?
So I would say they're manifestations of the same thing, but they're not the same thing. So Africa's a very vast place. And like in a country like Nigeria alone, you might have like 100 different languages spoken and 100 different distinct ethnic groups. In Ghana, you might have another 100 languages.
Right.
But there's some commonalities in terms of the way that we do things as Black folks. We're going to praise our ancestors. We're going to drum. We're going to dance. We're going to give offerings to our ancestors. We believe in God. We call the creator by different names. So as our ancestors came here from Africa and were brought to different parts of the Caribbean, the South America and stuff like that, they brought traditions of where they were specifically from. So the Vodou tradition is based on a few different traditions, but it's a lot of us Haitians come from Benin. And so there's a tradition called Vodou in Benin. So that's had a large influence on Vodou. Hoodoo, people say, is based on the traditions that come from Congo. So it's really just different groups of African people with different languages and ethnic groups being brought to different parts of the diaspora. So they develop traditions that kind of are influenced by the place that they came from. But it's the core is very similar.
Right. Okay. And so what is the core? So because I see a lot of people that are like, yo, I don't want to mess with Haitians because they doing voodoo and all this other stuff, right? And I don't feel like that's the core of what it actually is, right? So what would you describe the core of that as?
That's a good question. So I think to answer that, you got to peel back some of the layers. So a lot of it is like the Hollywood sensationalized kind of thing of like voodoo is like this scary tradition where people are putting spells on people and turn them into zombies. All the Haitian, the things people say about Haitians, I'm gonna turn you to a goat. Like you got to discard all that stuff and realize that this is just a way of life. So it's just so our ancestors in Benin or different parts that they come from, what do they call the creator? How do they connect with their ancestors? Black people, even if we Christian, we still got an idea that even though grandma might have passed away, that she comes to us in dreams, that she watches over us. We know that there's still a connection, So how do we connect with our ancestors? How do we honor our ancestors? How do we, if I'm gonna cook my grandmother's favorite meal on her birthday, even though she passed away, like that's to honor her. How do I contact those ancestors and pray to them and ask them for blessings? The spirits of nature, there's a spirit of this river. This river has a strong spiritual energy. How do I give offerings that pay homage to the spirits of nature? And how do I honor God? The creator, we call it might be Olodumare in Yoruba or Odumakama in Ghana, but it's still those same elements. So I think that it's important for people to just kind of peel back those Hollywood, sensationalized type things, because I think that they do that on purpose. I think with Haiti specifically, because we beat the French, and we got our independence, they were like, whatever them black folks are doing there, we got to make sure that nobody ever wants to do it. We got to make sure we make it seem as evil as possible. But the last thing I'll say is that everything has people that use it for good and they use it for bad. You know, under Christianity, you have people who have done amazing things to help heal people and influence the world in a positive way. But then you have people who have committed genocides and slavery under the banner of Christianity. But that's not the whole religion. That's that person's character. So
right. Yeah, you know, it kind of reminds me of the conversation that we have in the Black community all the time, where it comes between like Black men and Black women. And or just even like if we look at the Black podcast conversation, where a lot of people are seeing Black men on podcasts that aren't really saying the best things about the community and women, right? And so they assume that all Black men have this negative agenda when it comes to podcasting, right? And we were talking about the TikTok video. The reason why that video that I just put up on TikTok went so viral is because I'm speaking from an experience of a Black man that has a podcast that's not speaking in a negative way, but still gets kind of generalized into this negative context because of all the things that people have seen, right? And so when you said that just now about how there's good and bad and everything, that's what it really reminded me of. Like, as a society, a lot of times what we see and what we perceive and the things that we surround ourselves with the most, which a lot of us are seeing a lot of movies and things about voodoo and all that kind of stuff, right? We will categorize that as bad just because we've only seen bad examples of it, right? But that doesn't mean that there isn't good in it, right? And so I'm glad that you spoke out about that specifically.
Good analogy, man. Like, because it's, and you know, the funniest thing that always kills me about people who do the all Black men, all Black women thing. So as a Black man, I'm a hit Black men on this one. Like Black men who be like, oh, I like white women because, you know what I'm saying, Black women are this, and that. So you're able to look past all the negative things that white people have done. You're able to find you the one white woman that you feel like doesn't fit that stereotype, but you just generalize all sisters and you couldn't find the sister that didn't fit your past experience. So it's that'd be funny to me, you know.
Yeah,
The same thing with the church too. Like sometimes they'll be like, you know, I saw this one negative thing about African spiritual tradition. Yeah, but you had some problems with that pastor and you left and you moved to the next church. And you still kept your faith in God and Jesus and stuff like that. So same concept.
Nah, you're speaking facts, man. We start talking about how there's a lot of, or not even a lot, how certain Black men prefer to date outside of their race. We're going to have a whole different podcast. I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to have a whole different podcast episode. And don't get me wrong, bro. I'll never sit up here and cap and say that I was never a Black man that at one point in time preferred to date outside of my race, right? Because this is what happened to me. When I was younger, I was in a relationship. We were in college. We ended up breaking up. And I was hurt. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking to myself, yo, I don't know if I want to be with Black women anymore. And I remember having like a 2-hour conversation with my bros. I was like, yo, I'm getting with a white woman because she ain't gonna hurt me. You know what I'm saying? But I was speaking out of hurt, right? You know, and we laugh and we joking about it. I'm like, nah, I'm getting with a white woman, blah, blah. And so, but my mindset was kind of like, yo, really, if I get with a white woman, I'm gonna be good, because what I'm seeing from white women in society and movies is that they're submissive and they listen and blah, 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 right? And then I had to realize, like, yo, wait a minute. And in that moment, in that year, right? Like, maybe not in that same moment when we had that conversation, but in that year, I realized, like, yo, just because I got hurt by this Black woman doesn't mean that all Black women are going to treat me this way, right? Like, and I just had to keep on, like, reminding myself that that hurt doesn't equate to all Black women. And that's why I'm not necessarily hard on Black men that have this thought process, but I do hold them accountable because I know I've done the work. You know what I'm saying? I know I've been there. I know what it takes. I know what it requires. So I know that it's not something that's like, you can't get back from. So I always think about that. I'm like, yo, bro, you got to be able to do the work, because this whole thought process that it's easier on the other side, or the grass is greener on the other side, it's not going to serve you, man.
And I want to take us too far.
Go ahead.
These are our problems to fix. So people might feel like it's easier to date people outside their race because maybe they don't have the same trauma that we've experienced in the Black community. So like, for example, like, you know what I'm saying, my relationship with my mother, my Black mother, my Black father, I might see that in my relationship with my Black wife. But if I date somebody outside my race, they're outside of that experience, that generational experience that the Black community has. So they might feel like it's, oh, things are lighter because there's just certain things that are not there, but these are our problems to fix. Right. We can't run from them. It's our job to heal the relationship between Black men, Black women, Black men, etc. So we can't. I sometimes feel like when some people say that, I'm like, nah, man, you can't run. And I'm glad that you did that work and you realize, and you did exactly that. You're doing the work that you're doing now. You're like, nah, I'm not gonna run from that and do that cop out. No, I'm gonna do the work to heal the Black community, to heal Black men. So I think that's excellent, man.
Nah, absolutely, bro. And this is the last thing I'm gonna say on this, bro. I'm gonna keep it a stack with you, bro. There is no other race that's doing it like Black women, bro. And this is not me trying to hype up Black women or whatever the case. I don't care how anybody feels about it. There is no other race that's doing it like Black women. If you think about it, if you really think about it, every other race is copying Black women.
Mm-hmm. Facts.
Every other race is really copying Black women. Like, so it's like, bro, when you think about it, bro, we really got the cream of the crop. Mm-hmm. And we sitting here fronting like, yo, I'm gonna go get something. I was like, bro, you understand? You got a 10 out of 10. We got the 10 out of 10s in our community, bro. We have the woman in our community everyone wants to be like. And we have, not all of us, right? But a lot of us have access to creating relationships with these women as long as we approach them correctly, right? Or easier access to compare to people outside of our race. And we will literally fumble that and go and look for things outside of our race because we think that that's easier to deal with, bro. When it's like, bro, God put you on this earth with Black women so that y'all could build together. What in the hell are you doing? What are you doing? Yeah, man, I know God be up there sometimes. Listen, he better than me, but I know he be up there sometimes like, God, you know what I'm saying? Like, dang, geez, man.
You spit facts, bro. Yeah.
I'll keep it stacked with you, bro. But listen, like I said, we gonna talk about this the whole podcast. Yeah. But nah, listen, bro. There was one thing that we talked about. Speaking of God, right? You talked about earlier praying to your ancestors, and you had an interesting meme, bro. It always makes me laugh when I think about it. You had this meme that said something like, when your ancestors give you a blessing, and then you say, thank you, Jesus.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. That meme, when I tell you, bro, that meme had me crying, bro. Because I was like, damn, have I ever done that, bro? And I probably have. So can you explain to me, what does it mean to pray to your ancestors, and what does it mean to receive a blessing from your ancestors? And also, this is a really loaded question, but also, how do you know if it's a blessing from your ancestors versus something from like Jesus, God? Like, how does that look to you?
Ooh, that's a deep question. So I guess to the first one, I think starting with the foundational idea in most African traditions that I've come in contact with. Again, Africa's so vast, but the idea that the ancestors are not in some far off place. That yes, they've transitioned from this physical realm, but that they're still here. So I call on my ancestors for specific things. And I had another skit I did like that with my brother, but like it was like sometimes you got called Uncle Ray Ray and them that you know was with it. You need some protection. I got my grandmother who I know was very loving and nurturing or whatever, and I'll come to her when I need certain things. Or I got my grandmother was a mathematician, so even getting through school, like I would call on her all the time. So the idea the ancestors are still here. You can call on them for specific things. They like and dislike certain things. So like you can see, okay, maybe I gave so-and-so this offering. I know that my grandmother liked black eyed peas with this, and that. I gave her that offering. Okay, and I received X, Y, and Z. Sometimes the ancestors will come in dreams. Like my brothers have dreams all the time. They'll be like, yo, grandma came and said this, and that to you. And sometimes it'll be like, what? Like, how did you know that? Like literally no one knew that, but something came to my brother in a dream. And it's grandma saying whatever. So I'll speak to you in dreams. I mean, some people, see signs throughout the day, like it could be a song playing that your uncle who passed away liked. So it's a lot of ways that they speak to you. There's also, we have divination systems. Like if you're looking for a direct thing, we have divination systems that we use. So tarot cards is a popular thing that people use. It's not exactly from African tradition, but we have our own ways that we do it. So it might be throwing some cowrie shells, reading them depending on how they land, and then giving the messages. So I recently went and got a spiritual reading, and it'll be like, yo, your ancestors are saying this, this, and that, and the thing will be spot on. So all that to say that the belief that the ancestors are very much here. It's a two-way relationship where we're listening to them. They're talking to us. We're giving them offerings. You see them give certain things back to you in your life. And I'm a firm believer that, our ancestors, when they came here with their traditions, they weren't allowed to practice them. So they kind of had to hide them behind the veil of Christianity. So a lot of times, a lot of like our grandmother, great grandmother who would go and pray, they also praying to their ancestors. They on the surface, it might be, I'm just praying to Jesus, but they're also praying to their ancestors. And their ancestors also interacted with them. So I just kind of made that meme to kind of poke fun at it a little bit and kind of make people's mind step outside of their, traditional way of thought.
No, absolutely. And that's exactly what it did for me. Because I was like, wait a minute, man. Because I think for me, the reason why it may be difficult sometimes is because I haven't had someone close to me that's like, I guess, an elder in my family pass away that I was close to, right? And so like a lot of the people in my family are still alive, or if they've passed away, I didn't really know them that well. So I don't know their likes or dislikes or what offerings and stuff to give. But I think what you said is definitely really helpful, and I'll keep that in mind. What I was going to say is it reminded me of this story that my pops told me about his mom passing away. So his mom passed away while he was away. Like he was probably, I think he was in like London or maybe Germany or something like that. He was overseas. His mom was in Ghana. She passed away. He hadn't seen her for like a few years. And he went back for the funeral and all that kind of stuff because he's the eldest. So, in African tradition, most African traditions, or at least in Ghana and in his region, the Ashanti region, the eldest child takes care of the funeral. And so, and the funeral is also a big thing for those of y'all that don't know. So they, you have to make sure that the funeral is taken care of, right? So he went back, took care of the funeral and all that. And I think he I don't know exactly how it happened, but he met with some elder or some spiritual leader or something like that. And they were telling him like, yo, if you want to have a conversation with your mother, you can. Like, if you want to do that, you can. And he never did it, but it just like having this conversation with you just really reminds me of that, and like how prevalent spirituality is in African culture and like in the tribes and the villages and the regions, especially, man. Like you can find someone, a spiritual leader that can let you have conversations with your ancestors and stuff like that. And you can get answers. So for those of y'all that may not believe that this is actually real, it is very real. And I definitely do believe in it. Like it's so real, in fact, that my dad was like, no, I don't want to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like he was like, I know it's real, and I'm just not ready for that. You know what I'm saying? Like
that's for like that's something that I find with a lot of like Africans and Caribbeans. Like they know. It's not that they don't believe it, like especially Haitians. Not that they don't believe it. They just like, no, I don't mess with it. But like it's real. So they're not doubting its power, but they're just like, that ain't for me. So yeah, I feel you 100, man.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Listen, I want to get into it. I may not dive as deep into it as others, but I definitely want to get into it and learn more. And that's the reason why we're having this conversation. And so why I was going to ask you, bro, why should people even connect, right? Because we're talking about all this, right? For the average person that feels like they don't, they don't have any, I guess, ancestors, or they don't know exactly how they would start. We talk about practical ways in which they could start, but why should they even start, right? Like, what are some of the benefits that you've reaped from this work?
Man, these some powerful questions, man. So if I could summarize it and then I explain each part. So I would say that being an African spiritual tradition gives you a grounding in terms of your purpose and your identity. And then throughout life, it serves as a compass to help guide you. So to the first one about it grounding you and giving you a sense of purpose and identity. So I was raised in African traditions, but in raising my son, I'm getting to see that firsthand. So like we got his name. We went to a spiritual healer. They did divination to determine like what his mission and his purpose was. And then they gave him a bunch of names that have meanings about what his purpose is. So throughout his life, it's going to remind him of that, but in one specific way that comes to mind. So like with us as Black men, like this society is very scared of us. So any emotion, aggression, anything like that we show, like from an early age, sometimes we're taught like to suppress that. But one of the names that he was given, and it came from the divination, was like that he's going to be a warrior. And it's like whenever there's a fight, whenever there's a battle, he's going to be right in the front. He's not going to be backing down. And so when my son comes home and he wants to fight and tussle every day, and he's very emotional, as opposed to me saying, nah, when you get out in society, you can't show no emotion as a Black man because you can end up like Tamir, right? You can end up like this, you can end up like that. I'm able to better kind of guide him and nurture him. And I understand that that's the energy he's coming with already. So I don't demonize his that energy and that fire that Black boys have. So I think that as he gets older, all of his names will guide him and they'll remind him, like, this is who I am. Like, one of his names means destined for greatness. One means that he's going to be a fighter. There's a whole bunch of one that means about him having a crown. You know what I'm saying? So throughout his life is going to ground him. And then for the second one about it being a compass, like, I go and get divination. Divination is a major part of African spiritual traditions. I know I've mentioned it multiple times. And so anybody who's listening, I know you see a lot of people doing tarot card readings. That's a form of divination. We just have our own forms of divination in African traditions. But before any major decisions, relationship decisions, you know what I'm saying? Before getting married, before taking a job, before should you move here, move there, and just routinely you get divination. So like, if you're dating someone, you might put them through your own processes and your own like filters. You might talk to some old heads in your family. And then you can also go get divination to see things. And there's been people I've seen have got divination, and it's like, you should be careful with that person because and the stuff comes true. So throughout life, it can serve as a compass because of divination. And then the last thing I'll say is that these traditions serve as a compass because, like the Bible, they speak very heavily about character. So you see me post these proverbs all the time.
Right.
That's because they come from these traditions. And, when I'm making decisions, I can think like, okay, this tradition says X, Y, and Z, you know what I'm saying? And even like in your family, you mentioned like your folks from Ghana, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Y'all got mad proverbs and wisdom, stuff like that, that can guide you throughout life. So
I think you broke that down perfectly, bro. I love the fact that you talked about getting your son's mission and his purpose before naming him, and then also using that as a way to inform your parenting decisions, right? Because man, is that a different way of parenting than what we are so used to, especially as Black men, as Black boys growing up. We're always taught to basically, like you said, suppress, right? Like, even when we're not suppressing, we're supposed to be suppressing, right? Like, basically, regardless of how we do things, we're always kind of perceived as a threat, even if it's just like us having the same normal emotional response as some other child. Just because we're a Black boy doing it, it's like, whoa. Yeah. Whoa, what are you doing?
Too. When you go to school, it's the same way. Yeah.
Absolutely. Especially in school. This is where we learn a lot of these things. Like, we always blame parents for not teaching children the way to process their emotions. But for a lot of us, it's not only our parents, but it's also in society, and where we're at the most is school. And in school, you have principals and administrators and faculty that are continuously drilling into you. Why are you acting this way? Why are you behaving this way? Why are you talking so much? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Right? When that could just be that kid's personality, and you're stunting his growth because you don't know how to deal with his emotions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? Because seriously, it's a lot of Black boys that aren't necessarily problematic. It's just they're in a society that doesn't know how to handle them and their emotions and their processes and what they go through, man. Man. Yeah, it's interesting, man. And I was talking to my girl. I was like, yo, man, I may want to homeschool my kid, man, because I don't know. I'm already paranoid as a Black man now, and I just don't. The fact of the having somebody else raise my child, because when you think about it, bro, school raises kids. Like, you're in school
more hours a day there than
exactly, bro. So you're basically raising my child for me. Do I really want to leave the decision to raise my child up to teachers and faculty and administration at a school? Do I really want to do that? I don't know. And so that's for me. Like, I've really heavily been thinking about homeschooling, man, because I'm like, yo, I don't know if I want to leave that decision up to teachers, faculty, and administration at some school, man. Regardless of how much research I do, I'm not going to be with you 8 hours of the day as you raise my kid, man. I'm not. There are going to be certain things that happen there that I'm just not going to be privy to because I'm not going to be there. My child's not going to know it's significant enough to tell me about. And so these are things that I really think about, man. So I'm glad that you talked about the benefits of having your connection in spirituality and using that to inform your decisions as a parent. Because like I said, man, we just don't see that enough, man. So talk to me, bro. Where do you want to go with this, right? Like, what's your ultimate goal? Because I have goals with the page and all that right now. We could talk about what it is that I plan to do after, but what's your ultimate goal? Like, what do you really want to do? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? I'm sorry if this sounds like a job interview question, but I just want to pick your brain, bro, and just see what it is that you're trying to do with this, bro. Cause I'm super interested, man.
So personally, I definitely plan to continue studying and growing in the tradition. So in the tradition I'm a part of, like the same way you gotta get your like degree in medical school. It takes years and years and years, and then you can finally practice as a doctor. Like I'm kind of doing the same thing inside the tradition. So right now, like I don't do any spiritual work for people publicly. I might do some stuff for my family, but because I'm still training and studying. And once I complete my training, then I'll be able to be like, okay, I'm a licensed so-and-so, and I can do work for people in the community. So that's my personal goals. But with the page, man, as many people as I can help connect to their ancestors, that's the end goal for me.
Right.
You know, I don't know if there's necessarily a finish line. Like, you know, I got books I'm coming out with, but my main thing is like, as much as I can be a guide to kind of, it may not even be me. Like I connect people to other credible people who do work. But if I can just, as many people as I can help connect and kind of streamline that process, man, I'll be happy with that. If 5 years, if I can be like, man, I helped 100 people, you know what I'm saying, into tradition, and they're grounded and it's impacted their lives, I will feel good. What about you? I've heard you say some things. You think about stepping back for a little while.
Yeah. No. We're not stepping back. What's gonna end up happening? I'm gonna give you the roadmap right now, bro. And eventually, at some point in time, I'll probably come back to this podcast episode or another podcast episode, and just when it actually happens, I'll be like, listen, I told y'all, I wasn't capping. Like, this is something that was actually planned out. So 2 years from now, or a year or so from now, exclusive community is coming out. So, or actually, let me rewind. The exclusive community is coming out in like a month or so. A year or so from now, anticipating that will be enough income for me to quit my job, right? Once I quit my job, we are in a completely different ballpark. A lot of people don't even know I have a 9-to-5, man. I'm doing all this with a 9-to-5. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to get into all the stuff that I'm doing and what I'm doing behind the scenes and all that. Nobody cares, right? Like, people care, but people really don't care, right? I'm doing a lot. But so a year from now, the exclusive community is going to launch. It's going to be already launched, and I'm going to have enough money from that to quit my 9-to-5. Now, once I quit my 9-to-5, we're in a completely different realm, right? Because now I have a lot more time to do stuff like the podcast episodes. A lot of people don't know the podcast episodes recorded between 6 to 9 p.m. It's recorded between 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because I'm doing it after work. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have to do it after work amongst content creation and all that stuff. When I quit my job, now I have that 9-to-5 time to record podcast episodes, create content, and then also build out the business. I'm not able to work on the business aspect side of things too much because I have that 9-to-5. So once I'm able to build out the business, what's going to end up happening is I'm going to create enough revenue from the exclusive community, because not only is the exclusive community going to be content and live podcasts and exclusive merch and community forums and all that, but it's going to be a real live solution for Black men, where we're going to have partnerships with therapy organizations to offer low-cost therapy. We're going to have partnerships with a medical concierge service, which basically books doctor's appointments for Black men. So you have the holistic view of it. We're going to have Tice, who's my bro, who's been doing the fitness content on Fitness Fridays. He's going to do fitness content. I'm going to have my other bro doing credit content. If you want to come in there and do spiritual, you know what I'm saying? You want to come in there and do spiritual content and readings and all that kind of stuff, however you want to do it. Like, this is the reason why I do the podcast, man. Like, I do the podcast for me. It's a very selfish thing. Like, I release it for people to listen to episodes and all that, but it's really a networking opportunity, bro. It's really a networking opportunity for me to network with people, but also learn more about what it is that they do. And then I use that network to then leverage in the business in a way where it's not only beneficial to me, but it's also beneficial to you and whoever it is that I'm networking with. So the plan is to bring all these like-minded Black people that are in the podcast, that have been in part of the community, that have helped me curate content, bring them into the exclusive community, break them off some bread as soon as I can be able to do that, and then continue to build and build and build and create a real resource in that private community that will then pay me to be able to leverage my free time to build the business even more, do speaking events and all that kind of stuff. So 5 years from now, bro, definitely probably going to be, not even probably, definitely going to be a millionaire without a doubt, right? Yeah. This is what we speaking into existence. Millionaire without a doubt. speaking engagements. Gonna have done multiple TV engagements by that time, potentially on a brink of doing a TV show. I'm gonna have a social media manager. This is something that we talked about before the podcast. Like I was telling you, like I'm like, yo, bro, people don't understand. I don't like social media. I know how to leverage it, and I use it to build community. But I don't like social media at all. I don't want to be on my phone as much as I'm on my phone. I would much rather be in real life and talking to people and actually create connections in real life. I understand the problem. I understand the power of social media. And so that's the reason why I use it. But please don't get it twisted, y'all. As soon as I have a chance and an opportunity to hire a social media manager, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to make sure, not even a social media manager, a content curator, somebody that can help me with content. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to make it so that they can help create content for the page without it losing its authenticity, because it'll just give me more time, like I said, to work on the business aspect side of things. So there's a lot of stuff that's coming. 10 years down the line is going to be mental health clinics, outpatient mental health clinics. What that basically is think of it as like a community center, right? So it'll be basically a community center that has mental health offices on like the second floor, third floor, wherever the case may be. But it also has like a gym, it has a basketball court, it has dance studios, it has art studios, it has studios for music. And that'll be a place where everybody gathers, right? Because they all want to do a certain thing. They want to record their music. They want to make their art. They want to go to the gym. They want to play basketball, whatever the case may be. They all gather there in that Black community, but they also understand that there is a mental health office on the second floor or on the first floor, whatever the case may be. There are therapists that you playing ball with. Like, oh, that's a dude that be on the second floor. He's just down here right now because he got time in between his sessions, right? And so the whole thing is to reach people where they are, or reach people where they are and offer what they need, right? And so in the Black community, a lot of us are very apprehensive of therapy and all that kind of stuff, just because we don't understand what it looks like. We don't know what therapists looks like. We don't know what they do, right? And so meet people where they are, offer what they need. I'm doing that on a digital platform, on IG, TikTok, YouTube, all that kind of stuff, on a podcast. I'm meeting people where they are. I'm meeting people in the digital realm. And now in the physical realm, it'll be actually having buildings in these communities that offer all the things that people want, and on top of that, what they need, right? So that we can get more in tune with what therapy looks like, what Black therapists look like, so that it won't be as difficult for people to say, I want to get into therapy. Because now when you see a Black therapist, he's giving you 30 in a basketball game, like, oh, cool. Yeah, I can sit down. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can sit down and talk with you. Like, you a regular dude from the hood. You got a good jump shot. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all have something in common to kind of break that ice before you get into that session, right? And so it's really hard for people to break the ice without actually having those conversations or those connections. And so a lot of us don't know what Black therapists look like, and we don't know where to find them and all that kind of stuff. So let's make it easy. Let's make it easier for us to create these connections. So that's what I'm in the business of doing, bro. So 10 years down the line, that's what I'm gonna be doing. And we gonna keep rocking it with it like that, bro. Yeah.
As we say in the tradition I practice, man. You said speaking to this, and we say Ashe. Like it's gonna come into existence, bro. That's beautiful, man. And any way that I can help assist that vision, man. Like the culture needs that.
Yes,
culture
sir.
needs that, and it's just inspiring, bro. That's all I'm gonna say. It's inspiring, man. Like our sisters are out here killing it. Like I'm like they killing it. They doing businesses. They doing all this healing stuff. They killing it. So it's inspiring to see another brother doing it too. Because it's like, okay, it's time for us to step it up too.
Yeah,
So
yes.
I love that, man.
Yes, sir. We compete with our Black woman in a healthy way, right? And what I mean by that is, like, I look at Black women in a mental health space, and I'm like, damn, son, I'm so proud of her. And now I know it's possible for me too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I use it as inspiration, man. Like, all the Black women that are in the space, Taz from Black Men Heal, Vladimir from Therapy for Black Men. What's her doctor? What's her name, man? I can't remember her name, man. But she's founder of the Coma Project, right? And these are all mental health organizations, right? And they're doing so much good work, not only for Black women. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of them are focused primarily on Black men. Right. So it's like, bro, like, when I see all of this, I'm like, I'm inspired, bro. Like, it really inspires me to continue to do what I'm doing because I see that as possible. And not only just the Black woman, but also the Black men in this space. There's a lot of Black male therapists that are doing their thing too. So it's like, yo, I see all of this and I use that as inspiration. I'm like, yo, if he's doing that, I like by the time I reach his age or wherever, I'll be, listen, we gonna be good. We gonna be straight. And a lot of these people too, people don't understand. I say this as many times as I can. The Black community works together. There is this whole misconception that the Black community does not work together, bro. I promise you, the Black community works together, bro. We are about to be on the brink of
media narrative.
Yo, bro, we got to get rid of this narrative that we don't work together, bro. And there's a bunch of crabs in the barrel. Maybe in your hood, you know what I'm saying? Maybe, but the Black community works together. What I've seen on Instagram and social media, just in general, is that the Black mental health community, I'm gonna say that specifically because I don't know about everybody else's experience, but the Black mental health community on social media works together, and they are actively working to help me and each other to continue to create solutions for Black people. And so like that's why we're on the brink of having 2 different partnerships with different organizations, and it's all organic and through the community. You know what I'm saying? Like there's nobody hating, and you know what I'm saying? Like it's just straight up conversation. All right, cool. What you need? All right, cool. We could do that. All right, let's talk through what's the requirements. All right, cool. Yeah. All right, yeah, let's do that. Let's put that in the MOU, which is a contract, right? And then let's get it done. And it's just as simple as that. And let's iterate and make sure that it works for the people in the community. And the root of it all is like, how can we help Black men? How can we help the Black community? And when we keep that at the forefront, there ain't gonna be no beef, right? Because it's all about making sure that the Black community moves into a better space and moves in a better direction. So when that's the root, you know what I'm saying? When you're with people that understand what the overall mission is, there ain't gonna be no problem, right? Because we all are working towards the same thing, man.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. I think sometimes there's a segment of people who are doing the work, but are not necessarily showing it on social media. And so I think that sometimes the stuff that gets shown on social media is just the negative stuff. But I think but people like you, these other people that you listed, I think we need that visibility. I think that's beautiful because it also inspires people. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like you're doing the work, but then I also get to see the visual representation of it on social media. And it means a lot, man. Your platform gonna go far, man. I've watched it just in like the few months I've been following you. I done watched it grow, man. You know, you got big things ahead of you, man.
I appreciate that, bro. You too, man. Listen, man, we're gonna stay in contact when the exclusive community launches, bro. I'm gonna need people that are gonna be comfortable coming in there and having conversations. Like we're gonna have basically like different sections. So I talk about mental health, I talk about dating, I talk about relationships, I talk about what else do I talk about? I talk about and personal development, right? So I'm gonna have those 4 sections that I'll curate. But like I said, there's gonna be somebody else in there that's gonna be talking about fitness. There's gonna be somebody else in there that's gonna be talking about credit. There's gonna be you if you want to be in there talking about spirituality and African heritage and all that kind of stuff. So you'll literally have your own category. You'll be able to categorize. You'll be able to categorize your posts, and you'll be able to post stuff kind of like not necessarily like Twitter, but somewhat like Twitter. It's honestly like its own little like social media platform. People will be able to follow you. They'll be able to follow your category. You'll be able to host different things and all that kind of stuff, bro. So I'm not trying to create a social media platform, but I am trying to create a solution that gives power to not only, us as creators, but to Black men that are coming in looking for specific things. So you coming in looking for spirituality, and you have that content, all you got to do is go straight to that section of the community, and you'll be able to find all that kind of stuff. So podcast episodes and all that. Yeah, bro. Because a lot of times what happens is, bro, we get on social media, we create all this content for Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, I'm like YouTube. We got all this content, all these different platforms, bro, but there's no way to really organize all of it, right? Like you can organize it in playlists and all that kind of stuff, but it's not really the same, right? And we don't have ownership over it, right? And so that's a problem, man. And I'm tired of people telling me, yo, just go over to this different Black social media and we just got to promote. Like, bro, I ain't going to no more. So TikTok is the last one, bro. I don't give a damn what else. You know what I'm saying? I'm done, bro. I'm done. I'm not doing anymore. I'm not doing any more social media platforms. Don't ask me to get on Twitter. Twitter is a cesspool. I'm never getting on Twitter. Like ever. I'm never getting on Twitter ever. Sometimes I go on Twitter just to remind myself why I'm not on Twitter. Literally.
Yeah, like Twitter's the Wild West. Yeah, it is. Twitter's definitely the Wild West.
Yeah, bro. And so what I realized, bro, is like, yo, why do we keep on putting our putting the like our babies, because a lot of us have these platforms that are really our baby. Like this is our child, bro. Like this is really something that we put a lot of time, money, energy, and effort into. Why do we give that to these platforms to then basically manage our lives?
Yeah.
Like they have all control over the content that we post in our lives, basically our livelihood and our business. And I don't want to do that anymore, bro. So the exclusive community is going to be subscription based. People gonna have to pay a monthly fee, but it's gonna be well worth it. It's not gonna be me taxing people out of their mind. And you're gonna get way more value than what you put in monetarily, right? Like, and the whole point is to then eventually get enough money so that I can bring creators over and pay creators for the content that they actually post and that they curate, man. Like, I want to get to a point where I can pay at least like $1,000, $2,000 per month to creators for content that they post, right? And it won't have to be the same number of content, you know what I'm saying? Like that you post on like Instagram and Twitter and all that kind of stuff. Like, yo. So yeah, that's the vision, man. That's the vision. And we're gonna definitely make that happen without a doubt, bro.
Yeah.
All it takes is
I believe in you, man.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. All it takes is capital and community and people really being down with the mission, man. We got that right now on the Instagram. So I'm just gonna keep on pushing, man, and keep on creating these resources because it's all about creating solutions, man, and not more problems, man. We have enough problems in our community, bro. Enough.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yes, sir, bro. So listen, man, tell the people where they can find you, all the dope things that you're doing, the book, you know, some of the things that you're offering and as services as part of what you do, man. Please tell them everything, everywhere, how they can get more involved.
For sure. Yeah. So definitely follow me on Instagram at Oriire, Oriire. Oriire. I got a website, wordsfromyesterday.com. I got classes for sale on there. All the events that I do are posted on there. I got a book coming out called The African American Griot, and that's theafricanamericangriot.com. You find out more about the book, about to drop that any day. But yeah, most of my stuff, you follow me on Instagram, you'll see most of my stuff.
Yes, sir. And he's also on TikTok too.
Yes. TikTok, me and TikTok got an interesting relationship. I'd be like, every day I'm about to delete TikTok, but
really,
yeah, I'm on TikTok too. Yeah.
Let me ask you why you feel like you're about to delete TikTok.
Sometimes I be feeling like I'm too old, man. Like Instagram, you know, it was out when we was like, it came out when I was maybe like, I think somewhere like 19, 20, somebody, I'm 30 now. So it came out like 19, 18, something like that. TikTok, man, it's mentally, I got to get adjusted to it. And the young folks, they get on that joint 3-4 times a day. They be posting, and it's just nothing to them. So
yeah, absolutely. Listen, bro, you got to make it work for you, bro. Right? Yeah. Like I told myself I was never gonna do reels, and now listen, I do more reels content. You know what I'm saying? Like I got more real content than I got any other content on the page. You just make it work for you, bro. So don't force it, don't stress it. But definitely, I was gonna say, I know I've been talking about ownership and not giving ownership to these platforms, but right now you got to play the game, right? And TikTok is literally the best way to get engagement, bro. Like literally,
you're right.
You seen what happened on my page. Yeah. Like I posted something last night, we got 500 followers overnight. I ain't even, you know, I'm all organic. Like I didn't, you know what I'm saying? So you post the right thing with the right hashtags. That's business advice to anybody with a business. You don't need to have a super following to get a following on TikTok. I know people with super followings on TikTok that only got 1,000 people that follow them on IG. It's all organic. You know what I'm saying? So definitely don't stop, but make it work for you and don't burn yourself out, bro, because you're doing a lot of good work and we need you, bro.
I appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir.
Likewise, man. Likewise.
Yes, sir. Ade, thank you so much for the conversation, bro. It's been a dope episode, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you too, man. Keep doing the work.
Yes, sir, bro. You too. Yo, I'm excited, man. We're currently building the exclusive community and it's going to have so many dope features. We're partnering with a Black organization to offer low-cost therapy to each member of the exclusive community. And when I say low cost, I mean that members will be able to get therapy sessions for less than $50, regardless of who they are and where they are. We're also going to have free ebooks and courses, including both the Hurting to Healing ebook and the therapy ebook I'm currently writing, live podcast episodes where you'll be able to interact with the guest and I in real time, community forums, exclusive merch, and categorized content so you can easily find information that may be useful to you. So go to expressyourselfblackman.com/therapy and register for early access. It's literally a 30-second process. I just need your name, email, and social media handle to make sure you get access before anyone else. And before I dip, I just want to thank you for your support. Without people like you, none of this would be possible. I can't wait to see you when we launch.
Sometimes I know you feel like you ain't got nobody to speak to. A shoulder to lean on somebody you could preach to. No, you need to hear it, my brother, I love you. We got way too much to live for.